Hey, there we are. Let me just set up the chat on the desktop, which is in the background from what you guys are seeing. We're going to go quick today, too. Let me just fix the clock. There we go. Goal is started. Hey, Holly Locks. You are the first one in, my dear. Kathy X50. Nanette. Hello, hello. Let me try to find, while I'm setting up here, I'm going to try to find my whatnot code because I do have something new that's really cool up on my whatnot today. The sticker nightmare isn't over yet, but it's almost over. Let's see. Let me get the referral code. The referral code's worth 25 bucks now. Yeah. They must have just raised it like this week. And I know like 4 of you have signed up, but only 1 of you has actually used their funds and bought something. Because I don't get a credit for anything. I get $5 if somebody uses it, but if they don't complete the transactions, it doesn't mean anything. So, okay, I pinned the whatnot, the buyer referral code. If you're not already signed up to my whatnot, please do so. The stickers came today. Now, I'm still fighting with the first company to get the refund on the stickers I didn't order. This has been a very costly venture, people. Let me see, who have I missed? Thank you, Holly. Hello from sunny Toronto. Adalis. Is it Adalis or Odd Alice? How do I pronounce that? Brian Ray, welcome in. Stringer, welcome. Leanne, hello. Let's see. The stickers are cool. Yeah, I like them. I like them. Oh, my phone is like, one of the buttons is being crushed. Hold on. Got to make a few adjustments here. Yeah, and I don't have much charge left on it either. That's not good. Hey, Karen Us, haven't seen you in a long time, my friend. How have you been? What has happened to you, my dear? I've been going almost every day on this Nancy Guthrie case, and it's day number 147. Hey, I got 47 people on day number 147. Let me just get started. I'm April Davis, PI. I'm going to readjust my ring lamp. It's in my eyes. So no makeup on today except lipstick. Day number 147. I'm April Davis, PI. I'm a licensed California private investigator. I am reporting on the Nancy Guthrie case. I am not working the Nancy Guthrie case. I am mostly retired due to disability, as most of you know. Hey, Mandy's Candy. One of my friends, 2 of my friends here from the Gold community, Karen Unz and Mandy's Candy. Luke Taylor, hello. Let's see. What did I miss? Quilt party. Haven't seen you before. Seems the psychic lady was on point. Which one, Karen? These are the new stickers. I still have the old stickers too. So, and they're not really old. They're just older than these. So here's the first one, and here's the second one. They are both on Whatnot. And for anybody here that signed up using my code, make sure that you use that free money. It used to be $15. Now they up the ante to $25. So if you sign up today using my code, they'll give you $25 to spend. And you don't have to spend it in my store. You can spend it on anybody's store. But make sure that you guys follow through, because I got 4 of you that have signed up from my YouTube channel, and only 1 of you actually bought something from somebody. So your free money is not going to complete if you don't use it. You might want to buy a sticker. It'll be free. Oh, well, except for the 78 cents postage or whatever they're going to charge you. Hey, Kathy Doherty. Hello, Susan. So let's get into this. I know this is day number 147, and a lot has happened this week, especially about all this information coming out about all these ransoms. And there's still confusion regarding the, Dear Savannah, we're sorry note. Was that in the second ransom that was sent to TMZ and the news agencies, or was there a separate letter besides ransom 1 and 2? I've been getting conflicting reports. The news has been getting giving conflicting reports. Was that, we're sorry she died? No apologies. Was that in ransom note number 2? That was the same writer as ransom note number 1, who wanted $4 million. And if they didn't get it by this day, 3 days later, it was going to raise to $6 million, yada, yada, yada. Who wrote the Dear Savannah, we're sorry part? Not sure. But then you've got the third sets of ransoms, not text ransom guy, Derek Kelsa. Yeah, his trial is coming up super soon, like July 2nd. Yeah, let's see him go to prison for a very long time. You a-hole, Derek Kelsa. Excuse my language. We got 111 people in the house, only 10 thumbs up. I hope you guys are subscribed. Let me check the subscriber count really quick. I have to look behind the camera here. It's at 3509. We have actually lost a couple today. YouTube, what's going on? Okay, so here we go. Those third sets of ransom notes where Harvey Levin was like, oh, we're not going to talk about it anymore. And then he would keep talking about it. And he's like, oh, we got about a dozen. And then he got another one this week. And I did a whole live video on it. Did a couple videos on it. It's very hard for me to be convinced that those are legit. Because if this person, whether it's a guy or a girl, because they think it's a girl, whoever this person is, if they had all this information, they obviously know the kidnappers. They know where they live. They know their ages. They know their phone numbers. Those kidnappers would come after that person and say, we're going to take your ass out. You are, talking about us. Tattletale. You're tattletaling on us. We're going to get you. Unless this person, and this is a possibility, is hidden somewhere in another country. Like another country way far away. Just saying. They're probably BS. Are the first ransom notes, the 1 and the 2, like we need $4 million, we need $6 billion, and oh, sorry, she's dead now. Are those true? The FBI thinks that they are. It was pretty public knowledge that she was Savannah Guthrie's mother. She was even on the Today Show wearing that white Apple Watch on her wrist. When they said she was taken away in her pajamas and you could find the Apple Watch in the bedroom, that could have been just a good guess. But let's just go with it that they are real. That person stopped communicating with them after the second ransom, like it's $4 million or it's $6 million or we're done. We've never heard from that person again. Karen believes that the first 2 ransom notes were real. Let's see. A gang of illegal aliens would, but they panicked and split back to Mexico. I kind of doubt that. Could be. Everybody can have an opinion here. Remember, on this channel, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. However, let's go back to the beginning, folks. Even before we knew about front porch guy, we didn't know about him until like day number 8 or 9. We just knew that she was gone and there was blood at the front door. We didn't have all those video images. We didn't have those thumbnails of, front porch guy. Now we do. Well, it was more than a thumbnail. It was actual black and white video. Now, there's probably more. There may even be audio. But, the FBI released the clips that they released. And long before that ever came out, I said from day one, this is either the Savannah Guthrie factor, not the Nancy Guthrie factor. This is the Savannah Guthrie factor involved in this because Nancy is the mother of a celebrity who is rich and famous, which puts a double bullseye not only on Savannah, but on all of her family members. Or it's like 75 to 92% of these types of crimes where people are taken, abducted, kidnapping, or kidnapped. We didn't know at the time because we didn't know about front porch guy yet, that it's somebody close to you, whether it's family, a caregiver, someone working in the house, someone working on the property, a friend, a neighbor, somebody from church, somebody from work, whatever, but somebody that has intimate knowledge of her situation and that property. Remember, this was a neighborhood that's very safe. Nothing remotely bad had ever happened there in over 50 years. It's very dark. It's like a maze. One of the YouTubers told me, even with GPS, it's very hard to get in and out of that neighborhood. It's extremely difficult. Someone had intimate knowledge of the property. Now, once all the facts started to come out, that this is front porch guy, and this is what time he compromised that front doorbell. And this is the time that her pacemaker didn't quit, but it unsynced from her devices. There was a 41-minute time span. Now, could some of the perps have already been there before a front porch guy came? Sure, they could have, because remember, the back doors were propped open. And initially, the police said there was forced entry, but then they kind of backed down on that because, Nanos keeps changing the story and contradicts himself all the time. So we still don't know if there was forced entry, but we know that back doors, plural, were propped open with heavy planters that were on the patio. Okay. We know that there was a guy in a ski mask that not only was there the night of this crime, but he was there before, or someone similar to him was there on approximately January the 11th, per the FBI. Somebody was already casing the place. We know that the front doorbell, the Nest doorbell, didn't have any subscription. So she probably didn't even review it to see that on January the 11th, somebody was already sneaking around. But based on all of that, and my gut instinct as a detective has never changed. Kidnappers, I don't care how many notes there are. I don't care which ones are legit or not legit or maybe legit. I don't care who effing wrote them. I'm telling you, kidnappers do not stay in a house for a minimum of 41 minutes. It has never happened. Maybe ask an FBI agent, have they ever heard anything like that? They'll probably all tell you no, because it doesn't happen. And when people are kidnapped, ransom notes are left at the scene. Now, if she was going to the grocery store and on the way to the market, she got kidnapped out of the grocery store parking lot, then perhaps they might have sent a ransom to the family or left one on her car or delivered it at her mailbox or whatever, okay? But you don't have a kidnapping early Sunday morning around 2 a.m. and then Tuesday morning, that's how many hours between, 2 o'clock Sunday morning and the morning of Tuesday morning? That's more than 48 hours later, and you send a note to TMZ? Nobody does that. And then the news stations, I've heard 2 reports that they came either Monday night or they also came Tuesday morning. But even though Monday night, that's a long ways away from when she got kidnapped at, between 1:30 and 2:30 in the morning, Sunday, February 1st. That's a long time. By then, without her meds and the condition she was in and she was bleeding, she was probably already gone. She's probably already DEAD. And now all of a sudden these ransom notes show up. But by then it's too late. They have no proof of life. Those ransoms may not be real. They could be. I'll go with what the FBI believes that they're leaning towards, that they're real. But once again, you can ask any FBI agent, ask any cop, ask any PI. I've worked these types of cases, not a lot of them, because most kidnappings today involve children or grandkids involving non-custodial parents or grandparents. But, flat out real kidnappings like you see in the movies, or kidnappings that have happened. One happened in my own family. I've told you guys about it. Don't like to talk about it. It wasn't me. It was decades before I was born. But that is real. Those things do happen, even though that was like the 1940s. And you take somebody and you get a ransom note to the family immediately. It doesn't come 2 days later to some TV station or news agency, some entertainment news organization. That it doesn't work that way. This doesn't happen. I am not convinced at all that this was about just a kidnapping. And everybody here, did I tell you? How many thousands of times did I say? Everybody here is innocent until proven guilty. Believe me, there are red flags all over this. Not going to accuse anybody. Now I'm going to try to calm my blood pressure down. Recent note says they have a picture. Yes, I have some videos about that, Karen, this week. Karen thinks the first two were real. We talked about the gang of illegal aliens. I doubt it. Lori Smith coming in for the first super chat of the day. Thank you, Miss Lori. Hello, Sue Brock. How are you doing, my friend? Okay, Holly Locke says she's about 90% sure that the first two notes were from the actual kidnappers. Possibly. The psychic said it was a worker that had worked at her home. Could be. It was addressed to Savannah. Yes, it was. That's just come out. Jennifer says she believes this is payback for interviewing an Epstein survivor. That's on the possibility list. Go see my suspect video under my video tab. Hobble one, the theory of relatives something up to kidnapper due to knowing them is dumb because family member would have been seen on camera. Okay, I don't quite understand what you're saying. Karen says a worker, possibly a roof guy. Very possible. Kathy, I have the same question. Karen, what psychic? There's so many. Karen, or some worker that had been inside and saw framed pictures of her children. Possibly. Remember, she was all over. She was on the Today Show just a few months before this happened. You sent a video link. You know, I've got about 1,000 emails, Karen. You can always resend it. Hubble one says, if a familiar face allows Nancy to trust kidnappers, it's voided by the fact that family member's face would be seen on camera. We don't have anybody's face on camera except a masked man. Holly, I'm just not convinced that the goal of the note was money. Me neither. I think it was actually to terrorize and humiliate Savannah. Very possible. Oh, thank you, Karen. She says smash that like button. That's why the notes went to the media, so everyone would know. See, that's a good thought. Let's make this very public that we're trying to get revenge on Savannah. From the very beginning, revenge or money. It's one of two things. Was it random? No. Was it a burglary? No. Robbery? No. Home invasion robbery? No. They're trying to get the gym guy next door and they went to the wrong house. Absolutely not. There's a group. It's more than one. That means it's at least two. I don't care what the third set of ransoms say. There's at least two. Planned a month in advance and didn't have a quiet ransom plan in place. That's crazy. We're taking you out, Jeffrey. See you tomorrow. Things can change. Absolutely, Karen. Nanette says big red flags. Huge red flags. You know, we don't know the timeline, you know, especially since there's so many, by Nanos, who's still the lead agency in this, believe it or not, which is a joke. But Savannah wasn't contacted right away because when she was contacted by Annie and they told her about the doors being propped open in the back and perhaps maybe, you know, the police were thinking she had a medical emergency and they took her out the back and they forgot to close the doors, which is totally ridiculous. But she said, oh, call the hospitals. And Annie said, oh, we already did that. So they already got the call from the church lady that was at a private home. They already took how many minutes, hours, eons to drive over there and look for her. We don't know how long it was until they called 911. I think the police got there a few minutes later. Eventually, someone went, maybe we should call the hospitals. And then, you know, maybe, you know, I don't know if it was 10 minutes later or 6 hours later. Oh, well, maybe we should call Savannah. I'll never be able to feel okay about that. And there could be a lot of reasons why. I'm not pointing the guilt, I'm not pointing the finger and saying, oh, these people did it. But I don't like the body language in any of the live interviews that were, when they weren't live, they were pre-recorded lives, scripted, with Savannah being the lead. I don't like the body language. I don't like the body language when they came out in the car, and you know who we're talking about. I don't like the fact that the FBI or the police both took the car for 41 days. You know, like, I don't like any of this. But I'm not saying that these people are guilty. In fact, I definitely don't think they're the people at the scene of the crime. I don't think that they are. Not on, well, at least they're not front porch guy. Some people think that's a woman. I think it's a metrosexual male. Now, could I be wrong? Sure, I could be wrong. I'm not investigating the case. I don't have any more evidence than all of you. Okay? But I do have experience. And I'm telling you, there are red flags within that family. And even if they didn't do it, I mean, I hope that they didn't. I hope they're not involved at all. It's going to be just as big of a surprise to them as it is to Savannah. Because if they're involved in even the tiniest way, Savannah will never get over it. I hope that Savannah knows more than we do. Obviously, she does. I hope that when she, she's adamant that her family's not involved and the sheriff is adamant that they're not involved. I hope they're all correct. I hope Savannah Guthrie, God forbid, I hope she's not living in a dream world and her heart gets broken all over again. Like, if this isn't enough, that her mother's been missing for 147 days and they don't know where she is. Now, does Savannah know that she's probably deceased? Yes, because Savannah's not stupid. But this is a lot to handle. Nanette says big red flags. Absolutely. Zorro, welcome in. Those who are good that don't come forward will be associated with those that are not desired. Let's see. I don't know what you're saying. Karen says, I don't think this has anything to do with Epstein. I'm not leaning towards that theory either, Karen. I mean, anything is possible. You know, it's possible the aliens came down, but I don't think they did. Not in this case. Zorro. Electricians use bite lights. That's a very interesting comment, Lori Smith. I cannot pronounce it, so we'll just call you Desai. Said hello. Okay. You got to put somebody in timeout. I think we got a troll in here. No, we're not going to let this go. Notes could be a ruse. Absolutely, they could be red herrings, and I said that from the beginning. Oh my God. The masked man was scary looking. To me, he's a dork. He's a total dork. And I've listened to a lot of FBI agents, retired FBI agents, law enforcement officers, security specialists, and they all agree with what I've told you from day one. That is not a professional kidnapper. That's not some Mexican drug cartel who knows what they're doing. They would have kept her alive. They would have taken her meds. They would have been in and out in 3 to 5 minutes, and that would be done. They weren't professionals. Someone who needed money, most likely. Roger Forever, 777. One of my members. Hello, my friend. Was Nancy involved in illegal activities? I highly doubt it, Frank. Hey, Kathy Doherty. You're using the emojis. Were you the Kathy that was having problems with the emojis showing up? Because they're showing up now. Holly says, I have a couple of favorite theories, but am open to most as more evidence comes forward. It's really so hard to know. Exactly. But I tell you, no matter how this works out, and by the way, did I not say already that everybody here is innocent until proven guilty? Kidnappers don't spend 41 minutes at least in a house. Doesn't happen. Ransom notes are not sent to TMZ. Doesn't happen that way. This is not what we think it is. Professionals from the FBI saying they weren't professionals Bumbling idiots. Didn't do their homework, didn't take her meds. Absolutely, Karen. Welcome in, Ash Cash. She says she agrees 100%. Absolutely, Karen. Could be someone who knew her family, but family is not involved. Absolutely. But somebody knew the specifics about the house, the cameras, security systems or lack thereof, what was in the house, what was outside of the house, how to take those front steps in the pitch darkness, how to get through the back gate, how to get a ladder up to the back of that strobe light, where that was. Somebody had intimate knowledge of the property. Holly, I hope they aren't involved. Poor Savannah. Absolutely. I pray that they're not involved. Tyrone, welcome back in again, but goodbye. See ya. Come back in 24. Their second public video, they knew she was buried in nature. Absolutely. I thought so too, even though they didn't really say that at that time when she used the word celebrate. But she didn't say, we're going to celebrate your life, or we're going to celebrate with you. It was very, very scripted. 105 people in the house, only 31 thumbs up. And somebody just sent me, what did I get? I'm not there yet. Oh, I'm not even there yet. Sent a flower. And let me get the screen up so I can actually see who sent that flower. I got to reload my chat on the computer end. Oh, it's not showing. And now it's turned blue. So that's not good. Well, I might just have to start the whole page all over again. I want to see who sent that. Oh, Mother's Mustache. Thank you. Thank you for the 30 jewels. Appreciate it. Now let me go back. Yes, I agree, Karen, about being buried in nature. Nafik, very sad, something real. Frank, maybe her neighbor from across the street did it. The people across the street, that house is vacant, but there was a construction crew that was coming back and forth from Mexico, and a lot of sketch stuff was supposedly going on up at that house, and they were laying concrete at that house. So yeah, I'd take a look up there. They wanted to celebrate with her, celebration of life. Yep. 2000s chair. Annette says there were electrical upgrades at that house. Yes. Hey, Jay. Bumbling Home Alone characters. It seems to be like that, sadly. AC and heating companies use bright lights. Oh, gotta time somebody out. The success of monetization. The whole thing is just pretty weird, says Lavacoca. It is. There's nothing normal about this, unless it's what I have put together in my mind that happened. When I get notifications, I tap and there's no link. They just disappear. Don't know. Ashcast, I just pray they catch them. It's been almost 5 months. Absolutely. We only have a few days left in June. Uh-oh. You're going to behave, Wavy, or you're going to be taken out. Nancy went missing on the same day the Clintons were testifying to Congress. It's a distraction. Savannah's husband works for the Clintons. Apparently he did at one time. He was allegedly worked for the firm that was the Clinton cleanup people. Roger forever. I haven't seen it on the screen I'm recording on yet, but I can see it over on the computer screen. Let me heart that. Everybody give Roger a thumbs up and thank him, because I guess his super chat is big enough where you can actually make a reply. So everybody send Roger a thank you. Who installed the security cameras? We don't know. We don't even know what cameras she did or didn't have in the house, what alarm systems she may have had or didn't have, what monitors may have been on other people's phones or in their homes. We don't know if there was panic buttons, medical alert buttons. I don't know if there was what's called inner, middle, and outer perimeter infrared security. I highly doubt it. It wasn't very sophisticated. I mean, you could literally just walk up to her front door. You can't do that in most like celebrity houses in LA. Everything's like built like a prison. Kathy says the Clintons have nothing to do with anything. Yeah, I don't think they have anything to do with this. Badesh, am I pronouncing that right? Says hello. Hello. They should bring in one of those things that can't see anomalies under the concrete, but they won't. Yeah, I think that house needs to be checked a little bit. But they would have to have a reason to have a search warrant. Oh, this is the weirdest case. It's going to be 6 months soon. Yeah, thank you, Roger, and thank you, Lori. This really, really helps, especially since I only have the 27th, the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th. So I have 4 days left. And YouTube, they're still having problems with the lives. Like, I still don't know how much money the last 2 or 3 lives have made, and the lives don't play the commercials much unless you're on a desktop. So I don't make much on the lives except for the super chats and the jewels. And I did get a 3rd follow-up letter from Google saying that they are counting that 3rd missing super chat, but it's still not showing on my back end. And when they send me the payment, they don't send like any type of a receipt or like a PDF, like this is how we calculated your funds. So I'll never know if I get it or I didn't get it. But it still pisses me off because I know that person will never come in and donate again because she will be scared to, donate on Google because, they took her $2. But now Google's saying that they didn't. But my most watched video, which was last Sunday, it was not my most watched video, but it was my most watched live stream. That is still disappeared. So I made a long form version, and you can see it under the video tab if you would like. Once again, the new stickers came today. The old stickers that really aren't that old. This was designed, this one by Mr. Alaskan Assassin Adventures. A lot of times we see his wife in here, Mrs. Alaskan Assassin. And these are the ones I designed, but he helped me put the rabbit in there. Yeah. So those are on Whatnot. And for those, there's been 4 people from my YouTube channel that have signed up to my Whatnot. Only one of them have used their free credits. If you're not signed up, it's free. You can get these for free, and they'll be sent, at the sticker rate, which I think is like 78 cents or something like that. Somebody let me know. Karen, they said on News Nation they were close to getting Porch Guy, like 70% or so there. Yeah, Maureen, what is her last name? The former FBI agent. She threw out on the Megyn Kelly show that she thought there was a 75% chance, but she wasn't in the FBI that long. I think that's just something she's pulling out of her butt. I don't think she actually has inside information that they're that close. I think that's just it's an estimate. Thank you, Brian. I hope they are. I hope it's true. But, it's like, all these predictors saying there's going to be a large earthquake. And then we, had one in San Francisco north of San Francisco, and 2 in Venezuela and 1 in Japan. And now there's been another one somewhere else, like, boom, boom, boom. Well, yeah, the world's going to have earthquakes. So, it's like it says, oh, I predicted there was going to be an earthquake, Well, yeah, because earthquakes happen. Oh, there's going to be a tornado in the Midwest. Yeah, tornadoes happen. Maybe to scare someone into trying to run. Maybe it's like that Ramsey press conference where they came out, like in February, 5 or 6 weeks after this happened, and they went, "We know who you are. The umbrella of suspicion is shrinking." And a day later, somebody literally took out Michael Landon Helgoff. Yes. But the narcotics detectives that fumbled the JonBenet case, they also fumbled his unaliving and said, well, he did it himself. He's right-handed, but, he put his hand all the way over his head and put a pillow on his face, managed to get his finger in the trigger guard, pulled the trigger just perfectly, and then after he was already dead and part of his head was missing, he then put his right hand down and put the gun perfectly in his hand with his finger on the trigger. Like, I mean, no wonder they never found out who kidnapped JonBenet. Unbelievable. And it seems like Pima County, they're not much better off. But I guess I heard that they didn't have a lot of high crime in Tucson, but now I'm hearing that kidnappings happen all the time there because of the proximity to the Mexican border. Which is it? Lori Smith, only ones I don't see scrutinized yet is CG's wife. CG's wife? Who is CG? You know, YouTube is hard. I become dyslexic and my brain temporarily sometimes misfires. Who is CG? Only ones I don't see scrutinized yet is CG's wife. Same with Brian Landry. Confirm the shooter shot with opposite dexterity hand. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't even know what she looks like. I know he's got 2 grown daughters. I was just like, who is that? I know it's Cameron Guthrie. Okay. Yeah, they were in Vermont. And on one of the videos recently, I said something about New Hampshire because we were talking about something else about New Hampshire. Like, no, they live in Vermont. Cameron and his family, Savannah and her family, no. Now, the other part of the family, the weirdos, I don't know. I hope not. I really hope not. I hope those people are completely innocent. Just because they're weird and Annie might be a witch and it was a Wiccan holiday and she's talking about her mother's burning embers, you know, yuck. But that doesn't mean that they did it. Okay, Karen. Kathy Doherty, yes, you're correct. The police seem to be bumbling. And why is that? What's the relationship between Nanos and that family? Just saying. Opinion of Dog the Bounty Hunter. What is his opinion? I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear Dog the Bounty Hunter's opinion on this. But it is what it is. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. And I always try to tell you guys the truth. But I am not investigating the case. You have to realize that. I'm not investigating this case. You follow me on Whatnot? Thank you. You know, 4 people recently have, at least since April. And I think they were my viewers. In fact, I think one of them, I talked about it yesterday. I think one of them may have been one of the Susans in here. I haven't seen her yet today, but I have like 4 or 5 Susans and Suzannes and Sues. And I think one of the Susans joined. But unless she purchases something, which, by the way, they're giving you free money to do so, it's not going to cost you a thing except for the shipping. And you can buy lots of little things or one big thing or, you know, just use it as a partial credit, however you want to do it. But, you know, if you want these stickers, you can get them for free. Because now Whatnot's giving you $25. And they don't give me a thing. They just give me a $5 shopping credit. It's not even cash in my account. If a transaction is completed by someone who signed up using my code. So if you signed up using my code and then you buy something from either me or there's thousands of rooms you can buy from, once you receive that item and the transaction is complete, then I would get a $5 shopping credit. And that would help me out because I like to buy a lot of gold items from the gold community, like little nuggets or flakes or bags of pay dirt, you know, that would help me. You followed here too. Thank you, Mother's Mustache. I appreciate you. Where are you coming in from? Edward Curtis sent the floating heart. Thank you. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. I'm up to, it looks like 20 cents in jewels today. But it all adds up. Trust me. Those add up. All those pennies add up. Oh, you're in Oregon. What's the weather like up there? It's perfect in LA right now. It's that perfect time of the year. JC George sent the flow state, or JG George. See, it covers my screen. JG George, thank you. I like that one. Now we're up to $1.20. See, that helped a lot. That added another $1. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So yeah, 83 people in the house, 41 thumbs up. I hope you guys are subscribed. I'm trying to get it up to 4,000 subs. I'm up to, oh, it went up to 3520. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, everybody. Let's get it up there. We're only 480 away now from 4,000. That'll, every time those numbers rise, even though I don't get paid for subs, I do get paid for views. So, or at least most of them. So that'll, push it out into the algorithm. The more people that come into my shows, the more people that send things or comment or watch the videos later or subscribe or hit the thumbs up, it all helps. And who sent the flow state? JG George, in for the second flow state of the day. Yeah, I like that one. Now we're up to 220. Perfect. Oh, I see the little gift chain at the bottom. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Really great here in my corner of San Diego today. Yeah, Nanette, I love that San Diego weather. Mother's mustache says she's 52. Live east of the Cascades. Oh, nice. That's very nice. Okay, remember, everything we've said here today is just my opinion. But mark my words, this is not a typical kidnapping. This is not a burglary, a robbery, a home invasion. As far as Nancy Guthrie is concerned, it wasn't a case of mistaken identity. She was specifically targeted, probably for money, whether it's the Savannah factor or it's the somebody close to her factor or it's a combination of the two. And most of these ransom notes, not all, but at least most, in my opinion, are fake. Or most likely fake. Holly Locke sent the marshmallow. Thank you. Mother says she agrees. Nothing about this case is typical. Ransom notes are not sent to TMZ and to local news stations. They're left at the scene of the crime. Trust me. I know this. This is not a professional kidnapping group or a drug cartel because they would have successfully completed their mission. It's definitely real. Danette, that's a good question. Do you believe the blood evidence is real or staged? We've talked about that a lot. It's real because the FBI believes that some of the blood droplets contain oxygen, so that it was aspirated from the nose or the mouth from a living person, and that she was probably struck in the face and went down on her knees because they don't think it went very far. Like if she had leaned down on the front porch and then it was dripping. It's definitely real. And if you watched all my lives, go to my, true crime playlist or my Nancy Guthrie playlist. There was someone that was on another YouTube channel. I can't remember her name. It was some elderly woman who said that it was all staged and that the blood was there because somebody took her blood out of her body at another location and brought it over and sprinkled it on the front porch with a turkey baster. And I am not making that up. Like please, I'm not trying to make light of this. I'm not trying to make this into a comedy, but somebody actually said that. And it was on a one of those like Friday night talk shows, like a big chat, where all these different guests were coming in and they were really nice to her. But I almost cried, because I thought she actually believed that somebody came with a turkey baster and planted the blood. No. Oh, hey, JG George, in with a $5 super chat. I've not seen you here before, JG George. Thank you so much. Usually I don't usually receive super chats from like new viewers. It's usually like the people that routinely come in. So that's awesome. We need about 37 likes. Let's get it up. Let's get it up. You know what? I can't gift any memberships today because I've already gifted out my memberships for the month. Let me see. Yeah, I can't. I don't have any left to gift. The YouTube will allow so many gifts a month, and I've already used mine for the month, and now I can't get my buttons back. Let me try this again. Okay, let me get out of YouTube. Let me go back into YouTube. Sorry, I have to look around this phone. And let me go to my lives. Got to get the live back up on the screen. Somehow it just took me out when I hit that button. Yeah, I don't have any free memberships, but if you'd like to buy one, they're $4.99 a month, and it'll open up the custom YouTube April Davis PI emojis. You think YouTube is pushing me today? I hope so. In a good way. You have been on a few times. Oh, okay, thank you. I just, right now I remember all the Karens and the Kellys and the Susans and the Suzannes. Psychic said the guy came up behind her in the bathroom and grabbed her to cover her mouth, accidentally hitting her nose, causing nosebleed. Well, I doubt it. But there's evidence that she was drugged from her bed. Hollylocks. My gifted membership will be up on the 30th, but I will buy my own. Thank you, Holly. I appreciate that. Most of the gifted members, whether they're gifted from me, which I don't receive a penny for, or they're gifted from another person that's in the chat, and then I receive a little bit of it, most people don't renew it. They're like, hey, it was free. Fuck it. Excuse me. I was going to say F it, but it just slipped. I'm very apologetic. I am so sorry. I've had to try to switch my brain that I'm on live, but I feel like you guys are my friends and my family, so it just slipped out. But usually they're like, it's not free anymore, and I'm not going to do it anymore. But J.G. George says, your Wi-Fi is horrible. I am sorry. Was there blood in the house? We don't know, because remember, there were conflicting statements at the beginning about evidence in the house and evidence of forced entry or non-forced entry. Thank you, Mother's Mustache. I probably just lost 20 viewers right there. I'm sorry. We've been receiving solar flare stuff. Oh, okay. We are your friends. Absolutely. You guys are you're my YouTube family. You're my Hollywood sleuths. Or you are what was the other one that they came up with? My PI posse. You're my PI posse or my Hollywood sleuths. J.G. George says, I have been following and there are notifications on, but YouTube isn't sending me. Okay, that's what I hear. Sometimes you need to unsub and resub and then go hit that bell button again, and it might clear out the cache, or the cache as they call it. Something only the perp would know. Regarding what? Something only the perp would know. The PI posse. I kind of like that too. Because we're not always talking true crime. This is not a true crime channel. This this YouTube channel was started the end of December 2020 when I had just survived the breast cancer. So it was a way for me to document my life. And I didn't care if anybody watched. And then I got monetized briefly in 2024. And by early 2025, I lost it. I deleted most of my videos, or a third. So if you go to the back end of my channel, or not the back end, but you go to my main page, and you'll see how many views I have. That's not even the true count. I have the true count on the back end, and I'm getting closer to 1 million. We'll celebrate that when I get there. But I didn't do this to get monetized. And then this Nancy Guthrie thing happened, and I figured we'd be talking about it for a few days, a week, maybe 2 at the most, and it would be a done deal. It would be over. And that would have been February. And here we are, and it's almost July. And we still don't know what's going on. The only thing we know now that we didn't know at the beginning is we know about Front Porch Guy. And that's about all we know. Blood in the home. Yes, something only the perp would know. Yeah, we don't know. It's iffy. Karen, I am a survivor too. True sisters, absolutely. I agree, J.G. George. This case is maddening. I was up last night. I was thinking about all these ransoms and all this BS and, people trying to take money, take advantage of this terrible situation. Everybody's losing the direction of this case, and that is we have to find Nancy and we have to find who did it. And if she is buried somewhere locally in a shallow grave and then all these monsoonal storms come, it's over. They should have been looking for her. Even though she could have been taken out of state or out of the country, they should have been looking for her because most victims are found in close proximities to their home. That's just stats. They should have been looking for her. I wondered if Crypto Guy is Porch Guy. Don't know. I have sent a letter. If you weren't here when that happened, I've called the FBI twice. Didn't get very far. Consulted with an FBI agent, retired, that's in my my association, my PI association here in California. And then he suggested I send a letter, and it ended up being like an 8-page dossier, and no response. But if it's not the guy that I think it could be, I do think that guy is still involved. Harvey was on a 30-minute interview earlier today. Yeah, he's usually out there. Yeah, but that's a good question, Karen. She's wondered if Crypto Guy is Front Porch Guy. We don't know. The real ransom people haven't contacted again. Porch Guy might want his pay. Maybe. Or it's just some despicable person. Christy, in my opinion, she is probably close for a couple of days, and then she passed, and they had to make a plan and took her further away. Maybe. Maybe. But I've never leaned towards the Mexico story. It could be. But I always felt that that wasn't it. And at first I was seeing water, and I don't know why I was seeing water in my mind. But then my mind started going towards burial. But we don't know. But the problems that I've had since day one with this case, I still have. By the 13th, 14th, or 15th, somewhere around there, I pretty much had it in my head what happened here. And I still think that. And it's almost July. That has never changed. She was probably close. Renee Brown, hello. Oh, wow. Psychic said she was buried in a barn. Hadn't heard that one. But you know what? If you go down the psychic rabbit hole or the spirit box rabbit hole, they've all said something different. 91 people in the house. 54 thumbs up on this video. Hey, I hope that all of you that have come in today, if you're not subscribed, subscribe, and we could get a big jump in subscribers. And if you'd like a sticker and you don't want to have to pay for it, and you're not signed up to Whatnot, which is an online selling platform, there's the link at the bottom of this screen. Go sign up. They're now giving away $25 to sign up. It was $15. Now it's $25. I've had 4 people sign up thus far, and only 3, or only 1 out of the 4 has ever bought anything from anybody and got their free $15, because the rest, they just say pending, 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 because they sign up and then they never go buy anything. Sticker number 1, sticker number 2. These have been a nightmare for me to get. I'm still trying to get money back on stickers that I didn't order. I did order these. These are the actual ones that I ordered. They came from Miami. Still fighting with the company in New Hampshire. If you've never signed up to Whatnot, sign up now. And then go over to April Davis PI. The only thing they'll charge you for is the sticker postage. That's it. Psychic knew she had passed, which shocked them. She said she had passed in her sleep the first night. Could be. No, I did not. I used to order from Sticker Mule, and I really like Sticker Mule, but then they sold their company, and the new owner went political and started sending Trump messages out. And they lost about 1 million customers in one day. And I was one of those million. You're just a sticker company. You don't get political. I don't get political. No. So now I've had to go through the nightmare of finding other companies. And I had used this company called Sticky Brand before with no problems. But don't order from Sticky Brand. Okay, I'm telling you, don't order from Sticky Brand. It'll be a nightmare. I'm probably going to have to file a fraud claim with my bank, but not for this. This was from another company. I can't remember it. I wish I could, but they were in Miami and they did a perfect job. Just a little bit, but yeah, I can't order from a sticker company that starts sending me Trump emails like, you're gone. Everybody knew she passed because of Acume's razor. What does that mean? Educate me. I'm not stupid, but I'm ignorant, maybe. Everybody knew she passed because of Acume's razor. What does that mean, Hobble One? Yeah. And I miss Sticker Mule because they were expensive, but they were quick and they were, perfect. But these are perfect too. They just took a little while longer. But these, you can get them for free if you're not already signed up to Whatnot. But there's several people here who did sign up and they've never used their credits. Ethic, we have to take you out. Yeah, my PI business, and how many years have I been licensed? Since 92. I've never sent political messages to my customers. Occam's razor means the simplest solution is the solution. Yes, as I call it, back to square one, where we started with this. Maggie says, absolutely. Jason Smith, are there any coastal cities in California below sea level like New Orleans? Not that I know of, Jason, but I've spent a lot of time in New Orleans when I was a child because my dad worked in southern Mississippi and we actually lived in southern Alabama. And during the years that we lived there, I think it was called the Army Corps of Engineers, always said that the dams that were built around the city of New Orleans, that they were not going to hold and that they were going to be compromised someday during a hurricane and that the whole city would be wiped out. And it never happened while we were there, but we all know what happened decades later with Katrina. I know that Venice is like that because I've been there. Venice, Italy is sinking. But I don't know if there are any coastal cities in California below sea level. I know that the sea level is rising due to global warming and the melting of, the Arctic. The sea level is rising. In the future, most of coastal California and most of coastal anywhere in the United States will be underwater, from Florida to New York to California. But it probably won't happen in our lifetime. Maggie says the stickers look great. Yeah. This was the one designed by Alaskan Assassin Adventures. He comes in here. He's one of the gold community friends. His wife often comes in here now. And this is the one that I designed, but he helped me add the money because the kitty's in there too. I know the camera's like not focusing, but they're very clear. It just, the camera was going in and out of focus for a moment. Hobble one says, I ignore psychics because they have faith in their own visions, but not others' visions. That's a good point. Anything that can go, or anything that can possibly go wrong, will go wrong. Yeah, remember, we've talked about this. I know you haven't been here for a while, Karen, but we've talked about the movie Fargo a lot. Things go wrong. Nanette, that's true. I believe Savannah Guthrie said her mom was on medications, left behind. She couldn't go 24 hours without. I'm in the same boat, and I'm young enough to be Nancy's daughter. Murphy's Law. Yes. Hobble one, you hit the nail on the head. A lot of people don't believe me on this, but that's the same thing that happened in the JonBenet Ramsey case. That case was actually intended as a kidnapping. Things went wrong. She died. And I know of at least 3 players that are involved in that, but I can't talk about it. Oh, okay. Alaskan Assassin made me a great sticker pattern thingy. Oh, it's on your avatar, but it's real tiny on my screen because I'm on my phone. Yeah, he made this one for me, and he put the breast cancer ribbon, and you can see Los Angeles in the background. Then he put the animal paw print and the magnifying glass. And then I made this one, but he helped me get the rabbit on there because I thought it would be sad just to have me and the cat and not the bunny. Nanette says, me too. I have to have the meds. Also can't go without. Absolutely. And I know because before surgeries, they make you go off a lot of these things so you don't die on the table, especially when they're going into your heart or they're taking the zappers. I used to see those when I was a kid on the TV show Emergency. And I know that's aging me, but remember Emergency? And they'd say, clear, you know, and the person's body would jump up, clear. I was so freaked out by that. It's happened to me 4 times. 4 times, 2 of which were in the same surgery as an ablation. Ablation number 1, I had 2, and I had one before the surgery and one after the surgery. And when I went off those meds, I was almost dead by the time I got into the operating room. And the first time I said that to the doctor, I'm almost dead. Hurry. Because they had to hurry up and do the surgery, wake me up, and get my medication back in my body. She's 84 years old. She didn't have a chance. Blood thinners too. I think she is on blood thinners, or she was. I think so, based on everything else. And she was bleeding when she left the scene. Renee says, yes, a great era of shows, wasn't it? And for those that watched that, do you remember that the doctor and the nurse in real life, they were hooking up? I think they were actually married. One of my neighbors, who actually came into one of my videos the other night, he's on the current version of that, which is 9/11 on Fox. Hobble one. Also, Gabby Petito's police stop, all downhill from there. Yes. Also, 2 women executed near Gabby in Landry. Yes. Never mentioned again nor solved. I know. There's 2 women that were camping. Makes you sore all over. Yeah. I still had the burn marks on my back. I own all of the emergencies. Love those paramedics. Yeah, they were kind of cute, weren't they? And Annette says, yep, I remember watching Emergency. I'm old. I could be your mom. Well, that's nice because I don't have a mom right now. Hollylocks. Yes, they were. And it's funny, my friend DeAndre that was in one of my test videos, I said, yeah, this is a famous celebrity, photographer, makeup artist. He's a little bit, maybe 5 or 6 years younger than me, and he doesn't remember Emergency because he was too young. And I'm like, oh my God, your client, Angela Bassett, who I think I might have just seen yesterday because she's here pretty frequently in the building walking around. It might have been her. I got to ask him, was that Angela that pulled up in the caddy? But I'm like, she's starring in a modern day Emergency. And he's like, what's that? And now they've done 4 or 5 seasons of that show and they're all making bank, but it's like a modern day Emergency. I'm 70. I could be your mom too. You'd be my super young mom if you're 70. But hey, I'll take all the moms I can get. I'm like an orphan now. My dad is gone, my mom is gone, and one of my besties from Canada is gone, and most of my pets are gone. And I don't have too many people left. Thank you, Nanette. She has just agreed to be my honorary mom. That means so much to me. Yeah, I could definitely use some moms out there. Hubble 1 is 68. I'm not there yet. Okay, 68 people still in the house. It says the goal is gone. Well, I'm going to just start a temporary goal because we're going to be off the air soon. And let's see. You know, I told you last night that I was going to watch my ball game. And then I got the sad announcement that it was one of those Apple only broadcasts. Okay, it's not starting. I'm trying to set it for 15 minutes. It's not working. Not letting me start. Let me just take that off the screen. It's not letting me close out the goal. So let's see. Start another goal. Let me try it over here. Oh, it's a live issue. Yep. Well, YouTube, you're trying to screw me again. You know, last Sunday I had 20,000 people. I had 8,000 people watch my live, and then 20,000 within an hour or two, and then everything crashed, and they've still never been able to recover it. So if you want to see that video, go over to the long form tab, and you can see it that way. San Diego, but it was a nightmare, and it was on Apple TV, which I don't have. How about Car 54? You know what? I never saw the original one. It was before my time, I think, but I did do a gig from Los Angeles when back in the 90s they filmed like a remake. It was a movie. A bunch of famous people were in it too. I think maybe even Rosie O'Donnell was in it. I'm not sure. But I did a case from Los Angeles, and had to call some people in Toronto because they were in Toronto making that movie. And some of my neighbors that were older than me, they were like, "Oh yeah, that's you know," and they start talking about the characters, and I'm like, "No, that's before my time." Adam 12. I was probably seeing it in reruns, but yeah, that was my show. I was a toddler, like a baby. We watched that from LA, and then one time, years later, I took a trip to Europe, and I was so mad because we didn't go to California. And my dad had been several times for work, and we'd been to Connecticut back and forth, and which I'm from, and I hated it. And then, we were in Europe, and it was like, I just want to stay home at this point if we're not going to California. And on the trip back, we had to stay the night. Well, the weekend on the way, we stayed a weekend in New York City. But on the way back, we had to, from Rome to London to New York. My parents were like, "That's it. We're going back to the hotel. We're going to bed. We'll take the next 2 flights in the morning." And I remember laying in bed, and they had something called independent TV stations, which where we lived, they didn't have anything like that. There was no TBS or WGN or WOR New York City. That didn't exist when I was a child, at least where we lived. And I turned on one of those channels from bed. We were so exhausted. We were so jet lagged. We didn't even eat dinner that night. And we turned on the TV for a few minutes, and we found some old Adam 12s. And I just like lost my, you know what, like, oh my God, this is just like when I was a baby and we lived in LA and they had Adam 12. And I was like, I want to move to New York because we can watch Adam 12. I don't want to go home tomorrow. Let's just stay. And then we can watch this TV station. And then in the future, and I've got a picture of it somewhere. I'll have to find it. I'll have to post it on my community post. I actually got to sit in the driver's seat of the real Adam 12 car. I'll find that. It's very deep buried in an old cell phone somewhere. But some lady cop who was a blonde, gorgeous, gorgeous cop. And she was doing a little thing at Studio City where they were having some kind of a thing in the parking lot of a certain shopping center. And we started talking, and she was like, "Hey, here's the keys. Like, go sit in the car." And she took my phone and she started taking pictures of me. And I'm sitting there like, I'm driving the Adam 12 car. So I actually have a picture, and it's the real car. It's the real Adam 12 car. And I'm sitting there with my hands on the wheel. And the gorgeous lady cop is taking my picture. Oh, we should have taken a picture together so I could show you. It was awesome. So yeah, San Diego, and I am so upset because it was a former Dodger, and The Dodgers haven't figured out that Roki is not a starter yet, and it's just, I couldn't even watch it. You were in South Haven, Mississippi. I used to go to Mississippi a lot when I was a kid because my dad worked there. I've never seen the original Car 54, Where Are You? And I have never seen the movie that I actually did some work on. Karen Unts, Herman Monster was one of the actors. Oh, Fred Gwynn. Yeah, he was a great actor. Brenda. Hey, Brenda Lasesny. Everybody welcome Brenda. This is my cousin. I'm here for you also, cuz. So proud of you. A true Davis. Thank you. That's a compliment. I don't know how long you've been here, Brenda, because I'm behind in the chat. And my goal button isn't working right now. Fred Gwynn. The lady that played Mrs. Munster, what was her name? She was Canadian. Yvonne, what was her name? Oh my God. I've met her son. I used to know her son. And he is the nephew of actress J.P. Morgan. Like, it's a small world. It's crazy. Because I used to have a friend in college who dated J.P.'s son, and like, I actually, he is the son of Bob Morgan and the son of Yvonne. What was her name? She was from Vancouver. And then she was here working in LA, and she got deported for a while, but she made her way back. And then her husband was in a horrible accident on a movie job on a Western. And that's why she took the Munsters, just because she had to pay the medical bills. I don't know why workers' comp wouldn't have covered it, but they were almost bankrupt from his not being able to work. Yvonne, what is her name? Somebody tell me, what is Mrs. Munster's real name? Yvonne? Her married name was Morgan, but that's not her acting name. Canon Manixtoma, never heard of that. Y50, my dad used to watch that. He was addicted to that. Barnaby Jones, Streets of San Francisco. Yeah, he watched that. Dragnet, I think that was before my time. Banachek, before my time. Kojak, I remember him. Chips too. Oh yeah, I've met Eric before. Nice looking dude. He's married to a wonderful, wonderful woman. Nanette says Dragnet was her favorite. Kojak, Who Loves You, Baby? Teddy Savalas. Yeah, I remember that. Yvonne DiCarlo. Thank you, Evil Spork. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, she only had 2 sons, and one died. He died young, and it was a horrible situation. I don't even want to talk about it because it might be private to the family, but her youngest son, Mike, he passed early on. And then she had a stepdaughter, but the family had lost contact with her over the decades. So the only one that's left is Bruce Morgan, the son. And he gave me a really nice picture of her, and I lost it somehow during a move. I've never been able to find it, and it just breaks my heart because I used to have an office in my home that was in the Brady Bunch neighborhood. I had an office. It's the only place I ever lived where I had an office within my home, and I had that picture up there that he gave me of his mother. And he was selling them at like the Hollywood show, but he didn't want me to pay for it. He just said, "Here, I want to give this to you." Yvonne DiCarlo, that was her name. Yeah. She was an amazing actress. She was a movie star. And she did that show because she needed the money because her husband, Bob Morgan, was so critically injured in that movie. It was one of these famous Western movies, and he almost died. She was beautiful. She was gorgeous. And I didn't know when I was talking to her son that his aunt was JP. Like, I would have loved to have asked him about her. And I'm surprised I'm at my age that I remember somebody like her. I didn't know, though. My mother told me she was a famous singer like in the 50s and 60s. I never knew that. I just, because I'm not that old. But I knew her as like, is she like a has-been? Because she was appearing on a lot of game shows to keep her SAG card going. That's why you see a lot of like celebrities on game shows back in the day, because you can film them all in one day. You could do like 5 episodes a day, and then it fulfills like your insurance for your SAG after or whatever. Oh, Nanette. DeCarlos's husband was a stuntman and died in an accident. No, he actually survived that. How the West Was Won. That was the movie. And he was doing a train scene and he got crushed by some logs or something in a train scene, but he did survive. But he was never the same. Yes, she was in a lot of westerns, according to Bruce, but before my time. That's what I don't understand, and we never got into it because we were talking about other things that should be covered by workers' comp, unless he decided to pursue it civilly instead, because in California you can't do both. It's one or the other, but they got stuck with a lot of bills. No, he survived that, but he did have permanent injuries for the rest of his life. And eventually, the marriage ended in divorce. It was a lot. And then they had issues with their youngest son, and I don't want to get into that because that's probably personal, but he's been gone for years. Michael Morgan. Renee Brown, I'll be 50 in August, and I know all of this because my parents watched all these shows and listened to all this great music. Yeah, I know some of the cop shows because of my dad. Oh, gosh. Hobble one. You're going to make me cry. Marcia Strassman, I actually knew her. I didn't know her well, but I've met her many, many times. She was lovely to me. She was so nice. And she has a redheaded daughter, by the way. And she was super tall, but she is my deceased sister in breast cancer, I'm sad to say. Marcia Strassman, The Flower Children, I didn't know that one, but she was on Welcome Back, Kotter. She's more recently known for a kids movie called Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. She is a wonderful, wonderful person. Yeah, I met her many, many times, and that death was always hard for me. And that was before I had my breast cancer, I believe. So that hit me hard whenever I think about her. Same with Linda McCartney. I bet I don't know Linda, but yeah, the breast cancer ones hit me hard. And to know her on top of it, she was super sweet. She would have made the perfect mother. Let me tell you, I saw her daughter with her. I don't know if I ever talked to her, but she was a tall redhead, and her mom was like, gosh, what was she, 5'10", 5'11"? I wonder if he signed some type of waiver. I don't know. I don't think they could get away with that now, but they did have a lot of bills. I mean, he couldn't work for years. Bob Morgan. My older kids loved Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I was already a grown up. I don't have kids, so I never saw it. But some of my bosses back in the day before I had my company, their kids had seen that, and she was in that. But she was a blonde in that, which is so weird because, if you know her from the Welcome Back, Kotter days, she's a brunette. It's like my friend Stacy, who's on The Young and the Restless and Days of Our Lives. Like, she's typically a brunette, but she has to be a blonde now because of the character she's playing on Days of Our Lives. And now she's playing the old role back. She's working on 2 soaps at the same time. And now Crazy Patty is a blonde instead of a brunette. It's just like, it's weird to me. Can I have Nancy's house? I don't think so. Oh, she was great in MASH? Yeah, I heard she was in MASH, but I was really, really young when MASH was on. But a good friend of mine in college, her dad edited all the versions of MASH that were for the syndicated version of MASH, not the original MASHes, because he would have been too young for that. but they had all kinds of mashed stuff in their office, I remember. Why it looks so high up? Because that's a green screen, Patrick. So if you guys are here for Nancy Guthrie, you have to go back to the beginning of this video. Wow, we're naming all these old shows and people, and how do we get into this about? Oh, because somebody asked me about Car 54, Where Are You? And said that Gwen, I think Rosie. I did a gig for her years ago, but I've never met her. I think she was in that movie. I'll have to look it up. I never saw the movie, and the TV series was before my time. On Car 54, Where Are You? But I do remember the movie because they were filming it in Toronto. And there was a guy working on it that had done something on Thelma and Louise, and I was investigating that here in LA. And so that led me to, oh, I got to go meet with this guy on Car 54, Where Are You? But they were in Canada. I just know people from the music industry. You manage a recording studio in Atlanta. Oh, cool. Yeah, I have a friend who's associated with one of the largest TV shows in the world, but he's known more for, even though he's been in it, he's more known for his music. And he's a young guy, and he hasn't worked in, heck, at least 10 years. He still lives off his residuals alone. Well, his royalties. Jan Michael Vincent. Oh, I remember him. Yeah, he had a hard life. Tribes. I don't remember that movie, but I do know who you're talking about. Why do you think they are so fixated on Nancy's other daughter and her husband? That's obvious, because of their strange behavior. And it doesn't mean that they're involved or that they're guilty in this, but there are a lot of red flags. There's a lot of rumors, none of which can be confirmed, regarding their finances or lack thereof. Their behavior, their body language, their disappearing, like so much, not contacting Savannah right away. 80% of the people that are following this case think that they're involved. Now, I'm not saying that. I'm just reporting the news. Love hearing about the old shows. I worked on a ton of these shows. In the 80s, I used to go to a lot of shows because I had a friend whose father was a very famous sitcom director. I mean, he was huge. He was the head of the Directors Guild, this guy, at one point. He's dead now because that was years ago, but it was good for me. He'd get me a VIP seat over at Universal, and it was really a good thing because years later I was working on these shows, and I already had it all prepared out of my mind, like how would I handle security on shows, and I ended up getting to work for a ton of shows. So mostly sitcoms, but I also have done a lot of movie gigs. Right in the chat, you were talking about emergency. I still have my 4th grade emergency lunchbox. Keep it, KMG, unless you want to sell it to me. That's worth a fortune. I am in Canada. Where am I at? I'm in Los Angeles. Where in Canada are you at? Because, I got Canadian family members and friends. The series was black and white back then when I watched Car 54. Before my time. Making sure we are on the same page. I do remember Dirty Harry, but I don't think I ever saw the Deadpool. Patrick says the son-in-law did it. I hope not. Thank you, Renee. Oh, that's awesome, Holly. She says, I have the emergency board game and I got it signed by Randolph Mantooth. He was the cute one too, wasn't he? That guy was hot. And I was just a little kid when I thought he was hot. Oh, wow. Your parents bought one of the buses from Clint Eastwood, the Gauntlet? Dang. Who cares about Nancy? Well, we do. So I got to take you out for that comment. Come back tomorrow. I've seen most of the Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry movies. And I saw the one where he played the Secret Service agent because I knew somebody that worked on that. And I actually have a picture of that. Somebody sent me a picture of Clint Eastwood while they were making that movie. And it's got like a card and everything. It's really cool. But that wasn't a very good movie in my opinion. Because it's not really like that. It was just too, they have to make it like, Hollywood to make it interesting. Patrick says, all of us men are hot. Not all of you. You met the inventor of the game Twister. Oh, wow. Clint often cast his children in his films. That's what I've heard. Yeah, a lot of his movies were like kind of before my time or I was really young. Did I ever meet Chuck Norris? No, I didn't. Yeah, a lot of these are before my time. I didn't see the Deadpool. Uh-oh, gotta take somebody out. Trust me, my time is more valuable than what little I have made on this. But I do appreciate those that have sent the super chats and the jewels and oh, speaking of, I almost forgot to mention it, and I have it right at my desk. Let me get the card so I make sure to get the right name. Barbara Ann Hoffman somehow sent me 3 of these. That's not her username. Her username is something else. If you are here or you see this on the replay, I know it's hard to see with the green screen. I did receive 3 of these today. Thank you so much. I love it. This'll keep me going for a long time. This is the Neutrogena facial moisturizer, but it has the sunscreen built into it. You have no idea how much this will save me being a redhead because I'm 1,000 times more likely to develop skin cancer and melanoma. So thank you so much. Now, that same person, Barbara Ann, also, I believe she told me that she had sent bunny litter. I didn't receive any bunny litter. But Barbara, if you're here or you come in later, I did receive. Oh, it's behind me. Let me grab it. And it's definitely something I can use, especially because I was just getting ready to order one. I received 2 very large bags of rabbit hay. And this is Amelia's favorite. So I'm going to have to adjust the inventory tonight because I am good on rabbit hay for a while. I never received a notice that somebody ordered me rabbit hay. I did receive information from you, I think. Somebody said they sent the rabbit litter, but the inventory still says 0. So if anybody sent rabbit litter and it's coming, let me know so I can go pick it up. Arnold Schwarzenegger played a crazed bodybuilder. Oh, I didn't know that. Killer in the episode or in an episode of The Streets of San Francisco. That was one of the shows that my dad watched. He watched that. And he watched Hawaii Five-0. He watched a lot of those detective shows. And I thought, this is so stupid, Dad. But, I thought Charlie's Angels was stupid too. And that was about female private investigators in Los Angeles that drove Mustangs. I didn't watch the show, for real. Saw one episode when I was 10 on the recommendation of a friend, and I was like, this sucks. Like, this is awful. Who knew, right? Who knew? Yeah, Yes, so kind. It is. Because I was just getting ready to order this, and she goes through this like the world is ending. And if you listen to all these earthquake prediction Facebook pages, they say that, we're getting ready to have the big one. So I'm glad I got an extra bag. But if somebody sent me rabbit litter, can you let me know? Because I'm pretty sure that she said she had sent rabbit litter and I didn't get any rabbit litter. So unless she made a separate purchase, because these came in 2 different boxes. Like these, the moisturizer for the face, 2 of them came in 1 shipment. And then there was an extra one that was in the shipment with the hay. So if somebody bought rabbit litter on here, let me know. Or if somebody didn't, let me know that too. And I won't be running back and forth to the mailbox. Maybe I just misread that. I'm not sure. So let me know. Yeah, the earthquakes have really turned up a lot. Burt Reynolds filmed a lot in Georgia. Karen, that's true because, as you know, when I was a kid, I lived on the Gulf Coast, and I actually knew a man very well. His name was Dan Jenkins, and he was one of the stand-ins. He wasn't a stuntman or a driver, but he was a stand-in for Burt Reynolds. And he was also a college professor that had like 7 different degrees, and he used to go to parties at our neighbor's house. We had a professor who moved in next door to us, and he would have, like professor parties, and this guy was always like in the room, chatting it up with the ladies. And he didn't look anything like Burt. They were the same height and weight, but he was his stand-in, and they were personal friends. And Burt and him and Kenny Stabler and my neighbor used to go fishing all the time. You are concerned. I would too, Mother Mustache, from what I've heard. She is concerned because of where she lives on the Cascade Mountains. Yes, that is a concern. I wouldn't worry about it every day, but there is a concern from Vancouver to Seattle to Portland to Northern California, the Cascadia Fault. That's a big issue. Sent the Floating Heart, mostly Dolls Helicopters. Where have you been? Didn't see you before. I'm just giving you a hard time. Okay, Sam says, haven't been in a while. Thank you for coming back. Whatever came with the info you sent to the FBI? Absolutely nada. Nothing, zip, zero. But I still got the letter, and I still got the screenshots of the phone calls, just in case. In case I got to track down Savannah for part of that $1.2 million when this is all over with. Because I'm not doing this for the money. But if I'm right and I've led the FBI to an arrest of Front Porch Guy or one of the Yahoos, I got something coming to me. Just saying. And I'm disabled, I got hospital bills, ambulance bills, pharmacy bills, food. Now, luckily, the rabbit, she doesn't eat that many pellets because they're restricted. So she's good on food now. But I do have to order some extra litter because somebody told me they had ordered the rabbit litter. But like I said, maybe I read that wrong. The gift shop on Amazon is not keeping up with the notices and the inventory. Usually I get an email that says, hey, this is what you got. But lately they haven't been coming in, and I've been getting surprised. Mother's Mustache, she grew up on the Gulf too. Panhandle of Florida, mostly Dolls Helicopters. Coming in with the Canadian $2 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Hubble one says Mount St. Helens. Yes. When that happened, I was in high school, and this was before we moved to Washington, D.C. And one year, because of where we lived, my mother was given some tickets for America's Junior Miss. And of course, I couldn't have given any care about that to go see a bunch of senior age high school girls compete in a pageant. But a neighbor said, oh, I want you to have these tickets. And I was getting ready to leave town for the summer. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we do it? And it'll help me pass the time before I spend the rest of the summer in New Jersey and Philly. And, let's do it. And we went, and we met Mrs., or not Miss, but we met Miss Washington. And she had these little prescription bottles that were empty. And I wish I still had mine. It'd be worth a lot of money today if I had it. She gave me a little empty pill bottle that was full of Mount St. Helens ash. And it was just fine, like silk. It was just like you opened it, it was just like filthy. It'd be enough to bring down an aircraft, let me tell you. Just in from work. Well, good you're off now. It definitely crosses my mind daily. Yeah, I've been thinking about the Lucy Jones, Dr. Lucy Jones, who was our earthquake lady out here, even though she's retired. She said that fault that ruptured in Caracas, Venezuela, or near Caracas, where there's probably 100,000 people missing or dead, that's the exact same type of fault we have with the San Andreas. And it's under more pressure and stress than it's been in over 1,000 years, and it could rupture at any moment. So I'm like, can somebody send me some like water and some MREs? No, don't send water because the pickup fees will kill me. I'm out another $7 today just to pick up the hay. I was just getting ready to place an order for this last night. It's a good thing I didn't. So this is awesome. I would be concerned in the Portland area. Yes, I've heard earthquake experts say that. You'd Like Policewoman starring Jessica Walters. I don't remember that, but I remember her a little bit. Angie Dickinson, I've seen her lots of times at the Hollywood show, but I've never met her. Been in the same room with her a few times. Hobble one. I like Cloris Leachman. I've met her. It seems like she's underappreciated. I had a crush on her back in the day. Do you know how much about why she's not celebrated more? Well, she's passed away. I met her at the very end of her life. I was at a gig with my old friend Terry Garr, and they were at the same table. And Cloris she's kind of in and out at that age because she was super old. It was just before her death. And she saw me and she went, it was like, she didn't even know me, but she just walked up to me and went, like, it's you. So now I've met Phyllis, I haven't worked with Cloris, but I've met Cloris, who played Phyllis, and I've worked with Val, also known as, Valerie Harper more formally, who was Rhoda. The only one I never got to meet was Mary. And I lived down the street from her production company for years and never met her. But I think she lived in Connecticut in the later years. Yeah, I love Cloris Leachman, especially as Phyllis. But she was also in that movie with Terry, the one that was kind of before my time too. That was long before I knew Terry. The one she was in with the Frankenstein and Gene Wilder. Like, I don't remember the name, but it's a very famous movie. That was the last time I got to see Terry too before she passed. And Terry, when she saw me, she started crying. And I had to keep it together because there were other people around us, and I didn't want to, make it worse than it already was. Yeah, the San Andreas is a big concern right now. Oh, Young Frankenstein, yeah. That's what Terry and Phyllis, or Cloris, were in together. Yeah, they charged me a fee because at the mailbox, that's a commercial mail receiving agency. That's my business address. And I have to pay fees to pick up packages. And let me tell you, because I've got so much stuff, my fees have actually got to be pretty high. But, my YouTube, some of the super chats will help cover the fees. Yeah, she was in a lot, but a lot of it was before my time. Yeah, Holly says, you lived in Spokane and everyone had a jar of ash. I wish I still had that little medicine bottle, but over the years you move a lot when you're young, and then you get older, you throw out all your crap from the past. So I used to have that little bottle of Mount St. Helens S. I know, she was wonderful. She was more than just somebody I worked with. She was actually a personal friend of mine, and I mean, I've even like driven her car. I've been in her house hundreds of times, and uh, I've been on set with her for years. Like, yeah, she was the best. And looking back on it, it was kind of like a mother-daughter kind of relationship at the time, but I didn't realize that then. I love First Encounters of the Third Kind. Yeah, they actually came to a town I lived in and filmed most of that when I was a kid, but we were upstate New York at the time. Karen, Seattle too might get the... Ooh, yeah, Seattle is at fault too because of that Cascadia fault. Rest in peace, Valerie. You know what? If you guys haven't seen, because you guys here are following me for true crime, if you haven't seen my series on The Girl in the Sewer, I still haven't made the playlist yet because, I don't want to call it The Girl in the Sewer, but I have a whole series on here about the body in the sewer. And I actually was invited to that girl's funeral, and that was before anybody knew, like, the identity of who it was. But I knew. And I know the detectives that are working on it for LAPD. And during that, and a lot was going on in my life because my heart was getting ready to go out, and one of my besties from Canada had just died, and I ended up in the middle of all of that having to go to this girl in the sewers funeral, most of which was in Spanish. But while I was there, I was at Hollywood Forever, and I started thinking, like, you know what? I think Val's here. So I went over to the gift shop. I got ready to buy a map, but it was too much money, and I'd already bought flowers to bring to the family, and I was on disability by then, and I was like, I can't buy a map too. And it's a big cemetery. It's not big like Forest Lawn big, which is near my house, but it's big. And I was like, you know what? I think she's got a view of the lake, and because I worked with her, and we just clicked from day one. I think I can find it without the map. And I just drove to the other side of the cemetery near the lake, and I just started walking around, and she somehow led me right to her. And I got to say my goodbyes. Because she died the first week I was in chemo, I believe, or the first month that I was in chemo. In fact, I was in the chemo chair when I heard that Val had died. And I was like, and she died of cancer, as did many others that I worked for or with at the same company. And I'm sitting in the chemo chair, and all these people were dropping like flies from cancer. And I'm like, I got to get over to Hollywood Forever. And it took me, 3 years. It took the death of the girl in the sewer for me to get there. And I'm just sorry I couldn't purchase any yellow roses because I had just bought flowers for the girl in the sewer to give to her family because they were laying her to rest. All the great women of our old Hollywood. You know what? When I go, somebody better cremate me and take me over to Hollywood Forever because I sure know a lot of people there. I think I'd feel right at home. And they got plenty of places where you don't have to be buried, but they can just put your ashes like up on a shelf, and like people can walk up and they can see your ashes and your pictures, or put my little PI card next to me, and April Davis PI, and there I'll be. But they'll have to buy a big space because I do have quite a few ashes of my loved ones with me, so I'd like them all to be able to go with me. I don't know if they can legally do that, but I'd like all that to be with me, like my pets. Pauline, hello. Didn't see you come in. Oh yeah, Gene Wilder, he was great, like especially Willy Wonka. And he was married to my favorite in the whole world, who I just to this day miss her so bad, is Gilda Radner. Yeah, Peter Boyle, he passed. It's funny, one of my very close friends used to date the brother on that show. Just briefly. It was so funny. We laugh about it now. Robert, remember? Robert Barone. Hobble one. I am on the set of The Candidate with Robert Redford. I'm the one in the beach scene. Oh, wow. Yeah, who had the brain cancer? Oh yeah, was it Peter Boyle? Is that what he had? Yeah, I don't want that. Alan Funt, Candid Camera. Oh, that's going way back. Your cat's going with you. I hope all my animals, all my kitties and bunnies and you don't want to walk into my bedroom, people. There's like a small cemetery. Gilda, she was the absolute best. Never be another one like her. Never will be another Gilda. Also, cancer. And you know, she was going through that when I was going through my first bout of ME/CFS, and she was misdiagnosed with that. It was too late. Yeah, I was really young, and because we lived on the Gulf Coast, we'd get it an hour earlier than most of you guys would get it. And I don't have any creative sense whatsoever because you guys know I suck at YouTube, but I used to write little scripts for some of her characters and act them out when I was a kid. And then I was devastated that I couldn't go to New York. My parents wouldn't let me go to New York because I wanted to go to the Winter Garden Theater on Broadway and I wanted to see Gilda Radner's play. But I had the album and I actually had the cutout from the New York Times hanging in my bedroom. I ordered a New York Times and I had it was a whole 1-page ad and I had it on my bedroom wall. And my friend Lisa, who was an artist, actually painted a picture of the album cover from that play. So I had a personalized photo that was painted and I had the ad from the Winter Garden Theater from the New York Times. And I was so upset with my parents. Like, I want to go to New York. I want to see Gilda. And they would go every November for a convention. And I'd be like, I have to go because I have to see Gilda. And then all these years, we were probably like neighbors in Los Angeles, but nope, didn't know her. No, she was the best. Everybody on the original cast was great. I've done a lot of work for people on that show over the years, or met a lot of people too, but there was the original cast was the best. Yeah, we're totally off Nancy Guthrie now, so if you're watching this on the replay, go watch the beginning. And once again, if you're not signed up to Whatnot, sign up. You can get these free because Whatnot will give you the free credits to buy them. You'll just have to pay the sticker postage, which isn't much. And these won't go out in packages. These will go out in the sticker ones. And those sticker ones, they take Whatnot a while to get to you, but it's cheap. Yeah, Holly, I don't remember which video it was, but I told a story once about some a-hole that looked like John Hurd, but it wasn't John Hurd, and he was in Pacific Palisades, and he was like, "What's going on? I'm going to call the police." And the whole police operation was there, and I was like, "We are the police." I didn't say I was a cop, but we are the police. How can I help you, sir? And he kept being an a-hole all night long. Then he said, "I'm going to call a guard shack." And I was like, "You need the number?" He goes fuming down the hill. He calls the guard shack. "What's going on?" And I thought, you know what? He can't be that close, even though he's a neighbor of this big billionaire film guy, because he doesn't have the home number. And I'm just April Davis PI, and this is my first shift. And even I have the home number. Like, even I have the home number, and I get into the property whenever I want. I got all the codes to the house and the property and the cars and the garages. And, you know, like, This guy's going to call the guard shack. And then he calls the guard shack trying to give them a rash of you know what about me. And then they called me like, hey, what's going on? This guy's all in flames. And they're like, oh, he's just an a-hole, you know. And he got so upset that he sold his house like a month later. And that client who was a billionaire bought it. And I showed up there in December. I actually got into the house, not just on the property. Now I was in the movie theater, the office, the guard shack, but now I'm actually in the house within the first month of me working for the company. Like, God, I'm sitting in their kitchen. You know, some of their kids were like right there, like, hey, how you doing, April? You know, I was like, oh my God, like I've made the big time. I come up there again in January, and there's like a big wrecking ball out there and all this construction noise and dust. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And they're like, so-and-so just bought that a-hole's house. And I was like, oh my God, I think I had something to do with that. And I just saw an article last week that said that house in the Palisades, and it didn't burn in the fires. It was some miracle of God that it didn't burn. It's now worth $100 million because he almost doubled the size of the place. And I'm like, you know, that guy doesn't even know, him and his wife, they don't even know that I've suffered from breast cancer and that my cancer GoFundMe is still going out there. Like, holy crap. Like, that guy, he needs to know that that was me that pissed off that neighbor so bad that he moved, and then he took the wrecking ball and smashed his house. And now that property is worth $100 million. And that's pocket money to that guy. He's worth like $7 or $8 billion. Like, and I'm like, oh, geez, I wish I still knew those people. Somebody like that could make one donation, and I'd be set for the rest of my life, and I wouldn't have to stress about this every day. But anyway, I could just feel my blood pressure going. I'm going through the medication change still, so, you know, it's one day on, one day off, and today's the day that I had to take it, and so I'm a little, yeah. Because, you know, my heart's still not beating perfect, and it never will. But yeah, boy, we could have a whole channel just dedicated to entertainment business and PI stories. So everybody, give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Let me check the total count. Last count was 3520. Now we're at 3522. Well, that's better than where we started today. Thank you for those that sent the super chats. I also got $2.75 in jewels. So I appreciate that. We pray for you. Thank you. That helps a lot. And if anybody that sent me, the person that sent me the hay, Barbara Ann, if you see this later, send me a message. Let me know if the bunny litter, was it you or was it somebody else? Or did I just dream that somebody sent me the bunny litter? Because I was pleasantly surprised to receive the hay. But if I'm not receiving the litter, I'll just go ahead and order that. So let me know. And as soon as I get off the air, I'm going to put on my sunscreen because the empty bottle had been sitting on my desk for months. So this really, really helps. I appreciate it. And everybody, pray for Nancy. Hashtag justice for Nancy. Let's hope that this case is solved.